So I get asked all the time, Mo, how do you get that hair color? How do I achieve that same look? Well, today I'm going to show you step by step exactly how I color my Go Sleek half wig to achieve this look. But before we get into that, I am Mo, the founder of Go Sleek Hair Company, and Go Sleek is your go-to for easy, natural DIY hair extensions. We are known for our perfect texture matches, flawless installs like for your clip-ins and your half wigs like the half wig I'm wearing right now. So if you ever need premium hair extensions, definitely check out GoSleek.com. But let's go ahead and get right into it. My wig, this one right here, was this color before I got to this. So I'm gonna go ahead and show you all of your products that you're gonna need. But let's start off with the basics, right? To make this really easy for you, I would highly recommend investing in a mannequin head, or you can get a styrofoam mannequin head. Just make sure it has like this little hole at the bottom, if you can see that. And then you'll need a tripod. This will make it so much easier for you to color your wig. And then I'm gonna show you now the products that we're gonna be using. So here is what I use. This is everything that you're gonna need. First thing is definitely some bleach. As you can see, I am using the Pravana color line. This is generally only available for licensed hairstylists, but you could definitely still get it from some online retailers without a license. But you're gonna need the power lightener to create the highlights that we're gonna do. And then I use 10.1 as my base color, which creates that brown shade. And then you're gonna need toner, and I use ash toner. I'll explain more as I'm doing the color on why you need this toner. This toner is so important, y'all. And I'll also explain which developer we use with what, but let's get right into it. All right, so we're gonna start mixing our bleach first and then our base color. So I have both of those already mixed up as I move along. Now, if you have a measuring cup, as you should do 1 to 1, but I just kind of eye it. But this is a little over an ounce. So then you would do an ounce of bleach. But I like to do a little bit more. And then also I always mix my bleach with 40 volume, just so it could process a little bit faster. I feel like when I use 20, it just takes way too long, and the blonde never really comes out like I need it to when I use lower volumes. So I am using 20. I am using 40. The 20 here is actually going to be used for the toner. All right, good consistency. I'm gonna put just a little bit more, because I feel like with bleach, once it starts to dry out, it starts to look cakey, and I don't want that to happen. Okay, we have that mixed up. Now let's go into our base color, which will be the ChromaSilk 10.1. And due to the amount of hair that is on that wig, I'm probably gonna need 2 of these tubes. So if you have a wig that you're coloring, just make sure you buy enough color. And as you can see, 10.1 is actually an extra light ash blonde. And when you see this on a color swatch, don't let that scare you. Your hair extensions will not actually get that light. It just won't. It won't get that light. So you don't have to worry about that when you see that color swatch. This is the correct color to get. I also use 40 volume for my 10.1 as well. And then one thing I left out that you're gonna need is foils. This is what we're gonna need for the highlights. And this has already been pre-ripped. Okay, so I start off by sectioning out the areas that I'm gonna add my highlights. So for instance, my front is a lot lighter, so I definitely add the highlights across the front. And just imagine you parting your wig like from ear to ear across here. Can you all see that? So I just go right across just like that, and I'm going to section this off. but we're gonna actually start the highlights in the back area here. And I don't put a whole lot of highlights. So if you've been following me sometimes, honestly, you'll see that my hair is different colors sometimes. Like sometimes it's more blonde. Like right now, the blonde is really just in the front and a little bit in the back. And that's basically what we'll be doing today. So I'm gonna take a section back here to add some highlights. So basically like 2 sections in the back, we'll do highlights and then I'll show you how to place the front. All right, so next, so I weave out the section that I am going to do the blonde on, and I take like little slithers. If you can see how small this is on my comb, instead of like chunky pieces, because I don't really like chunky highlights. I feel like the blend is a lot better. It looks more natural when you take smaller pieces. I'm just taking my comb through to weave out these small pieces. Next, I'm gonna take that. All right, next, I tease this so that you don't have that sharp line of demarcation when you apply the color. This teasing will prevent that. All right, next you want to place your foil right up under it. So I have my bleach here that I'm applying. And you want to make sure you saturate this really, really well so that color goes on both sides of the hair. We're going to repeat that same step right here in this back area. So we have the back foils completed, which will be our lighter pieces. And now we're going to focus on the front. Y'all, I want y'all to see real quick. I'm not even done doing my front, and my back is pretty much already to where I want it. I want y'all to see how fast this hair is lifting. And of course, we don't want it to get too light because we don't want to mess up the integrity of the hair. But I probably have like 2 minutes left before I'm gonna need to wash this out. So let me start moving just a little bit faster. I guess that's the disadvantage of using 40 volume. It does move pretty fast. However, 40 volume is the only thing that gets my blonde as light as I need it. So yeah, let me just speed this up because it looks like we're going to be washing out those back pieces before I can even put the base on, which that's okay. I'm going to just section it off once I rinse it out. It's going to get real messy. This is why I don't enjoy coloring my hair, because this is a process, okay? last section before we rinse out that back half. Got that on. Okay. So now we have all of our highlights in. We have the back completed as well as the front. But now I'm going to go ahead and start washing out the pieces that are already lifted in the back. But we don't want to wet the entire wig. So I'm just going to rinse out these pieces. I don't want to mess up the hair. To stop the processing. On to the next one. All right, I'm going to move my blonde pieces out of the way because we don't want this to process with our base color. All right, so the rest of this hair, now we're going to put our base on it, which is the 10.1. Now, if you have dark roots, I would highly recommend not coloring all the way up to the root. But because my roots are generally not dark, I am going to color the entire wig. And this is also processing pretty quickly. Now we do want to dye the roots of this. Actually, I'm going to cover this here. Cover this. This is processing, but still not as light as we want it. We want to go a little lighter because once we put that toner on, it's going to kind of darken it a little bit. So we're going to definitely let that process some more. But let's just really work this base in, especially at the root here. Just making sure I have this worked in at my roots. Move my blonde out the way because we don't want that to be over processed. Now let's check our blonde in the front because this is probably light enough for us to go ahead and rinse this out. Absolutely. Let's go ahead and rinse this front before we add the base. Yeah, this is the part that I don't like about coloring my hair. But it looks good when I get done. Now we're gonna finish off the final touches of our color application. Doing the front half. Thank God this is not a real client. We have color all in her eye. Yeah, I only do this on my weave. Yeah, so glad this is not a client. Need you to hold your hair right so we can get this over with. The brown is still processing, definitely not as light as we want it. It's getting there in the back. Smooth this out the way. Probably gonna go a shade or two lighter, but we are almost there. All right, so definitely the wig is to the color that we want it to. So we're gonna get ready to wash this out, but I'm gonna mix up my toner so that that is ready once I'm done washing my wig. I've already put my toner in the bowl, and I do use 20 volume for my toner. I know some people suggest using 10 volume, but I just feel like with 20, it always comes out perfect. So I'm gonna mix that real quick so that is ready once we get done washing that color out. And you'll be able to see how brassy that wig is gonna be when we first wash it out. This toner is definitely gonna get rid of all of those red and orange undertones. Okay, sit this to the side. Let's wash her out. See how does she look? You gonna see that? Got our base. We got our blonde here. Let's get this on out. And actually, I'm gonna go ahead and take this off of the mannequin. So anytime you are shampooing a wig or hair extensions, you want to make sure you always do it in a downward motion. I'm gonna hold my wig here at the top. Start rinsing this out. All right, so we're gonna do one good shampoo just to make sure we stop that color from processing before we do the toner. So I want you guys to see the detail of the color and the highlights. The fact that we really didn't do that many foils, but we were able to get this amount of highlights, that's gonna really create that dimension so you just don't have one flat color. See that? Oh. All right. Before putting the toner on, towel dry it pretty good because we don't want to dilute the toner because the wig is so wet. I have to section it off or be super neat. I just kind of slap it on there and work it through pretty quick because, like I said, toner works pretty fast. We don't want it to turn green, so we're not going to leave it on too long, but it's going to make that blonde not look so yellow. So if you have blonde hair and it's yellow, you could do two things. You can tone it, or you can use like a blue shampoo, purple shampoo, like a Shimmering Lights, and that helps get rid of that yellow, the yellow tone. And if I haven't said it already, I probably have. I'm gonna remind you one more time. This toner is so important. If you skip this step, it won't look like my hair color. As you can see, the blonde is already, yeah, it's not as yellow. It's already looking darker. So probably has about 2 more minutes and we'll be able to wash this out. But really work that in just to make sure you don't miss any spots. All right, so I think we have it there. As you can see, this wig looks totally different, definitely a lot darker, but I don't want this to sit any longer because I already can see that my blonde is starting to look a little green and darker. So we're gonna go ahead and wash this out. And now at this point, you can do the entire shampoo process. You wanna make sure that you use a clarifying shampoo for sure, a good moisture shampoo, and then definitely a conditioner to soften the hair up. And I always suggest that you let the unit air dry. For some reason, I just feel like the hair looks a lot softer when you let the hair air dry versus blow drying it. So if you have the time, let it air dry. Okay, I know I told y'all to let it air dry. I still recommend that, but I just blow dried it once I got some of the water out so we could go ahead and finish up the final process, which is showing you what it looks like on my head. Now, I still need to cut layers into it and all of that, but let's go ahead and see how this blends with my hair color. All right, so I want you guys to take a look at the detail. How the highlights are very subtle, but definitely creating that dimension so it's not just all brown. I put a little more highlights on this side. It appears it's a lot lighter there. Now the thing about toner, when you start to flat iron it, it's gonna take some of the toner off. So be mindful about how high your heat setting is. So I'm gonna lightly just kind of press this front piece before I put it on my head. My hair is about 3 or 4 days old as far as the freshness of my wash. So my natural hair has a little bit of oil in it where I feel like when it's freshly washed, it looks a lot lighter. So the color may appear to be off a little bit because of course we have a super clean wig and then my leave out is, you know, a little darker because the oil has gotten into it. But at least you guys will still see that this final color blends with my leave out. This is the kinky straight texture, which will get a lot straighter than what you see here. Do this side. And when I actually get ready to wear this, I'm gonna press the entire wig as well as do a layered cut on it. Do y'all see that color? The detail. So let's see how this looks on. All right, so we're gonna take off this half wig here. Okay, let's put this one on. And if you're not familiar with half wigs, a half wig is just that, a half wig. It doesn't come with a closure on it, doesn't have a frontal on it or anything like that. You just need to leave out your edges in the front, and then you hook your wig combs onto the braids. Okay. And then you use your leave out. Oh my God, look at that. Blend. And because this is not all the way done, I am putting a headband on. I am a headband girl. Headbands are my best friend. Putting that comb in the back. Now that you've seen exactly what I use to color my half wig, you can shop half wigs online at ghostsleek.com. But if you're local to Atlanta, we also have a salon and extension store right here on Lenox Road. That's 2770 Lenox Road definitely come and check us out. Some of our expert stylists can get you this color if you feel like you're not able to do it on your own. And also, if you want this exact color broken down step by step, I've created a free cheat sheet for you. Just check down in the description below so you can go ahead and get your free download. I hope that this video was helpful. Make sure that you like this video, subscribe to this channel. I worked hard today on this video, y'all, getting y'all this color, but I truly appreciate you for tuning in, and I will catch you next time on the next video.